Calling to order the regular meeting of the Wheeling Plan Commission for Thursday, September 12th, 2019. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioner Blanova is excused with prior notice. Commissioner Sprague?
Here.
Commissioner Kalis is present. Commissioner Yednick?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Creech?
Present.
Chairman Johnson?
Here. Ms. Nyes, any changes to the agenda tonight?
No.
No changes. Okay. Citizen concerns and comments. I assume these are the two petitioners, so we have no citizens out there. So we'll move on to consent items. Docket number SCBA 19-29, VK Auto Imports, 177 to 179 Wheeling Road, appearance approval of a wall sign. Docket number SCBA 19-30, Wajo Sushi, 73 South Milwaukee Avenue, appearance approval of a wall sign. And docket number SCBA 19-32, AWG Gases and Welding Supplies, 300 Sumac Road, appearance approval of a wall sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kalis, second by Commissioner Creech. Roll call.
Commissioner Kalis votes yes. Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague?
Yes.
Commissioner Yednick?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. Items for review. Docket numbers SCBA 19-31 and PC 19-18. Law Consumer Group, 798 West Dundee Road. SCBA 19-31 is appearance approval of wall signs and awnings. PC 19-18 is minor site plan approval. Ms. Nyes?
Thanks. I'll give a brief summary and then the petitioners here. So there's two similar but separate projects. The first one is a minor site plan approval for a change in the landscaping and also for the two awnings. So the landscaping at the corner is currently very mature and overgrown or dying, and the petitioner would like to remove the landscaping on the corner of Elmhurst Road and Dundee so that you could get a better vision of the front of the building. To replace those, or to replace the vegetation that's being removed, they're proposing some shrubs and a tree. The second part of this first agenda item also is the approval of two awning signs. So this is actually just the awning, and the next item will be the actual sign that's on the awning. So for this first one, we're just looking at these. There's two black awnings made of Sombrella fabric. One is facing Dundee, one is facing Elmhurst Road. And also note that there's window signs proposed. You see those on the bottom of the picture here. Those are exempt, and they do meet the code regulations for the size for the window signs. The second part of this project is the appearance approval of the sign. So it's basically the, sorry, the mouse doesn't work. It's mainly just for the consumer law group writing and the consumer law group with a little bit more text on the second awning. And that's all I
Okay.
have.
petitioner is here. Step forward and explain what it is you're doing here.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Please give your name and business address for the record.
Adam Dion, and we're at 6232 North Pulaski Road in Chicago, 60646. We've been in business for since 2010. We have offices in Aurora, in Berwyn, and in the city of Chicago, North Chicago. So the Village of Wheeling would be a great location for us. We're a plaintiff firm, a consumer service plaintiff firm, focusing primarily on immigration law, criminal defense, family law, personal injury, and some work comp also. So we're excited to be here, and hopefully you guys like what we've presented.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we get started?
Sure. So regarding the landscaping, we're basically looking to enhance the curb appeal and increase the visibility for the signage. We're excited about this corner. It's highly trafficked, but the issue is that when you're driving by on Dundee, I've been there a few times, and every time I go there, I pass the entryway into that little strip mall. So it's just overgrown, and we want to make it just beautify the area a bit.
All right. And we'll start with the commissioners. Commissioner Sprague.
I have nothing.
Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for presenting. Thank you for desiring to come to Wheeling. I appreciate that. I was curious, we don't see many awnings anymore. Is there a specific reason you were looking for awnings with the paint logo on it versus the traditional kind of logo with
Channel?
the channel signs?
Yeah. Admittedly, it's more cost effective.
I figured as much.
Yeah.
Is there anything more than that?
And secondly, I've done it at all of my other offices for the most part, and I just think it's a pretty look, but it's consistent with what I've done at the other offices. So yeah, ideally, I have a more consistent look.
Okay. So something in the notes mentioned that you're only doing the center area, which, first of all, I greatly appreciate the thought of beautifying that corner because it is a highly trafficked area, like you said, and taking down the trees is, while we don't like taking down trees, it is kind of opening up the commercial area of it. Looking into the future, I'm just wondering, have you spoken with the property owner about landscaping of the whole thing? Like if he would be in on it with you?
Sure.
Like I think that some of the notes said that you were going to be paying for this landscaping. Yeah. Have you had a discussion with the owner about kind of partnering and just doing the whole thing and kind of planning? In Wheeling, we like to just kind of plan in the future, obviously with all of Dundee. Have you planned with the owner? Yeah,
so it's my understanding we're going to trim the entire thing. So on Dundee and on Elmhurst Road, because it's just to do the center area there, you're still going to pass the driveway if I don't landscape or trim the other trees. So yeah, we would trim it, and we're going to landscape. We're going to landscape in between the. I know more about trees now than I've ever known, but
I bet you have.
We're going to landscape between the center, and then there's the one pine we're going to take out right on Dundee. Yeah. So there's like dead space there with nothing. So it's my understanding we're going to plant some flowers and some things in that area too.
Yeah, and I know you're centralizing on this. You're focusing on the center, like on the corner. I'm just wondering, was this existing trees to remain? There's going to be big trees on the ends of the strip mall. I'm just wondering if the owner of the property has said anything about like, hey, that's a great idea. Like, let's trim down these trees to give exposure to this.
Yeah. So I'm going to trim, like the maple, for instance, we're not taking out, but we're going to trim it because it's overgrown. And then there's some, I think there's some pines which we're not taking out, but we're going to trim all of those. Okay. So they're all going to be trimmed. I can't speak for the owner, but I can tell you that.
So you've not spoken with the owner about like the whole strip mall sort of thing?
I haven't, but we're going to do it.
Okay.
It's not that much more. I don't, from what I understand, there's not that much more beyond what we're proposing to do.
Okay.
So it wouldn't even look right if I did just the center part and left the rest over.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like future casting here. The owner should probably want to like beautify the whole thing. You're willing to put in money. You've got skin in the game for that corner, but let's just like figure out that whole thing, because eventually the Kmart lot is going to be bought and produced, and there's going to be buildings there. So I was wondering if the owner had any.
Yeah, I
input.
don't know the owner beyond just this transaction, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would commit to doing the whole Dundee side and Elmhurst side, though.
Okay, I appreciate that, because our charge here is to beautify Wheeling.
Sure.
And so that's, the corner is great. I love the fact that you're taking care of the corner, but like there's a few, I don't know, 20 or 30 feet extra in the whole strip mall. So I was just wondering if you had talked to the owner. Anyway, let me get back to my notes.
I did, by the way, they're not willing to landscape it, which is why.
I'm not a landscaper either, and Commissioner Powers, who has just left us, he's the landscaping guy. I wish he was here to talk to you about all the shrubs and trees and all that kind of stuff. I'm still learning myself, but I like the plan that you've presented. I'm just wondering if there's a whole plan for the whole strip mall versus just that corner. That was all I was getting at. Is the sticker, and this is for staff perhaps, the stickers on the window that they've proposed, that's within limits of, is it 25% of the window or 50% or what's?
25%.
Okay, and I thought I saw that but, okay. So, and they're within reason of that?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that. Is there any brickwork within your property that could use some love, like that you're not going to cover up with the awnings, that could be power washed, or some of the pictures kind of showed that there was some neglect-ish sort of stuff, or some old signs that kind of left it dirty looking? Do you have plans to kind of clean up the facade of the brick?
To be totally honest, I didn't notice it. If it doesn't look good, I would do it. I'd commit to doing it, but I didn't notice anything. It's my understanding that any old sign, where the old signage was, if there was, I'd cover it up. But I didn't notice any.
So just specifically the things that I noticed, it just looks like kind of rainwater dripping down
This
on
picture right here, you
on the
see
Dundee side.
the stains of the greater Chicago windows.
Sure, right underneath.
There's also some broken brick at the entryway too there, if you're looking.
Yeah, in general, again, our charge is to beautify the visual aspect of it. So right off of Dundee, that's kind of our pride and joy. Like that's the thoroughfare of Wheeling. And just to make sure that the brickwork is cleaned up, there's no dirt dripping down from the rainwater that's not covered by, and if the awnings are covering it, then fine. I just want to make sure.
Sure. I mean, I could try to get rid of the stains below the grater, but the awnings aren't going to cover that. They're going to be on top of the window.
So right in front, you can actually see it in this picture to the left, to the left of the door. And Marcy, if you could, which one is that? Go to the left, 2 images. One more, yeah. So on the front, there's that black square, like it's just, this is kind of like piddly stuff. But at the same time, like we want to just make sure that the new property owner is going to love the building and take care of. So there's just black spots randomly. So just keep in mind that we would love for you to clean those up.
Are they holes, or I can't?
I don't know.
Notice them, but I'll take a look at it. I'll swing by.
And you could also talk to the property owner, and that is technically their responsibility. But as far as a new tenant coming in, we just like to take care of, point it out that it's your new home. So just take care of it as best you can. So there's a couple black spots. If it's not going to be covered by awnings, we would love for you to wash it off, paint it, whatever. And we don't like painting brick actually, but just be aware of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
No restriping, repaving. The stripes looked fine. You don't have any plans to repave or anything. Again, this is building owner sort of.
Yeah.
You look kind of like caught in deer in headlights. This is mostly building owner stuff, but just stuff we like to talk about when a new tenant comes in. Sure. No plans for that?
No plans for that.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All my questions have been asked and answered. Thank you.
Commissioner Thompson.
I don't have anything.
Speaking to Mike.
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Yednick.
Oh, yeah, I had a couple things. I haven't been on the commission this long, but this is the first one that I've seen that has used the absolute maximum permitted sign area. It was interesting. Took it right to the limits. This question, I guess, is a little bit more for staff and Mallory. Have we had awning signs in the past? Do we allow awning signs?
We do allow awning signs.
Yes.
It's under the list of permitted signs in the code.
Okay. My one concern with the awning signs, though, is I live right near this mall, so anything to clean it up would be great, but I think it's going to be like a little bit of an inconsistent look where you're just going to have the one tenant that's going to have the awnings and everybody else has got the block lettering and the illuminated lettering. But I guess if it's permitted, and I can understand the cost issue, since you have used this on other properties and you said you've been in business, do you go all the way back to 2010? How have the other awnings aged? Because I would think that they would probably not age as well as the block letter signs.
No, they're beautifully. I mean, I've got it, the one on Sturmack Road in Berwyn it looks like new. Aurora is a newer sign in the last year, but it looks great. And if it did, we invest pretty heavily in our spaces and in the look of it. And so I can assure you, if it aged or grayed and looked old, we'd replace it.
Okay. And then all the block lettering and vinyl lettering on the windows, not really a fan of that, but I guess Marcy is saying we don't have a choice on that. It's, we can't dictate that, but at a minimum, I'm hoping you're planning on cleaning up the blinds behind all the block lettering.
We'll take it out. We're going to remove it.
So you put in new window treatments or
Yeah.
something like that? Okay. I think that was it all. That's all I had then.
All right, thank you. Most of my questions have been answered. I'm just curious as to why such a small awning. It only sticks out 1 foot. It's not,
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
really just to hang a sign.
yeah. It's strict, well, the sign company suggested it, so I don't know the difference between, I will, admittedly, the other ones have come out a little further in the past, but she thought it'd be a little more of a modern look and more visible from the street if it's a little flatter. Because if you're walking by, I suppose you want it a little out more, is what her argument was. But yep, I'm not averse to one way or another. It's just what
It's just
she
not
suggested.
functional as an awning per se.
Yeah, no, not at all. More so for signage purposes.
I'm also curious as to why you didn't put something on the corner, on the angled face.
I wanted to, but it wasn't permitted. I had, we had channel letters with the services in the center, right? But it's my understanding it wasn't permitted. So ideally, and I would still do this, is if we could put the services in the center, we would do that if that'd be approved.
Can you explain what went on there?
So there's the main sign on this wall.
Okay.
And it's based on the linear footage, and they have a graphic, so that's how they're allowed 75 square feet. The other wall signs, or other signs, are by your approval, by the commission's approval, if they're smaller than the primary sign. So they did propose channel letters at first across all 3 sides, but the front had a list of services, and that's typically not what we permit in the signs. If it was just the name of the business, that's completely fine,
Yeah.
Or just the logo even?
or just the logo.
Yeah, well, actually, the landlord didn't want me to put the logo in the center.
Did not
Yeah.
want to? Okay.
I proposed that initially also, logo in the center, but I don't know, she didn't want me to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, that's why I used the windows, because you're right, from visibility purposes, that'd be ideal too, but
Per our sign code, according to the next docket, you can't promote things. So to put all the services on the facade,
yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
per sign code. So it would just be a logo, which I can see if the owner thought that was redundant with both sides.
And I, too, am not a fan of the window lettering, but it is in code, so.
Have you considered any other aesthetic option? Maybe some color that might blend better with your logo or anything like that?
Sure. I just figured white is less tacky, and I prefer to put it on the, I'm trying to, balancing act, because ideally I put the number and the services. I mean, historically, I put the number and the services on the signage, which draws a lot of attention and traffic to the office, so it's important. But that's why I chose the window, because I don't know where else to put it. But as far as colors go, sure, but I feel like blue and yellow or blue or gray would be probably a little tackier maybe than white. But I'm open, I mean, but to whatever, but.
I'm not a font person. It's just the plain white vinyl to me looked a little
Yeah. So.
amateur, I guess. I don't know.
I saw
I don't know how else to
colored,
describe it.
yeah, I saw a colored vinyl, I think it was a yellow, and it just looks so tacky. And just, I think white would look better, but I don't know.
And it'd be easier to match someday when you want to change one of them.
Yeah.
Or if somebody breaks a window.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, apparently it happened to the chiropractic guy, because there's one missing letters. I think that's all I have. Anybody else have anything to add? In that case, do I hear a motion to approve SCBA 19-31, appearance approval of wall signs and awnings?
So moved.
Is there a condition
Second.
Are there any conditions on these?
about the landscape size?
There's a second.
We weren't going to put that in.
Okay.
Oh, that would be on the next one. This one is just
Oh,
for the
right.
sign, so it'll be on the other one.
Okay. so
Okay.
For the wall signs and awning signs. Do I hear a motion? I heard
We need a second.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Yednick?
Yeah, Commissioner Yednick made the motion. We don't have a second.
I think Sprague seconded. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So Commissioner Yednick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague,
Yes.
Commissioner Kalis votes yes, Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Creech,
Yes.
and Chairman Johnson.
Yes. We'll have something for you to sign in a moment.
You want to just do the next one?
Okay. On PC 19-18, the minor site plan approval, basically the landscaping and,
And that one does have a condition, I believe.
Okay.
Or no,
So
you
there's
don't
the.
want, you were not doing the proposed condition in the staff report?
It's flipped. We did the second one.
Oh, okay.
The condition is on the landscaping one.
Right, which is
Right,
what we're
which
voting
is
on right
this
now.
PC 1918.
Sorry, I thought you were did the other one first.
I took them in order.
Yes, then I'm putting the condition on the 1918.
1918, okay.
Right.
That condition is,
At the time of planting, the minimum sizes shall be a caliper size of 2 inches for ornamental trees and a minimum of 24 inches in height for all shrubs.
all right. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Kalis, Commissioner Yednick?
Commissioner Kalis votes yes, Commissioner Yednick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Creech,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes.
I will print that in 1 second. You can come on up. We'll have you sign.
Get to sign 2 things.
Same.
Let me, give me, Commissioner Johnson, I need that second one. I didn't sign that second one.
Oh, you did?
Under, yep.
Good luck with the expansion.
Sorry?
I said, good luck with the expansion.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming to Wheeling,
Thank you.
proposing to come to Wheeling. You're just a recommending board.
Okay, so if you could, you're going to need to sign all four, and then
Is that-
we'll keep one of each. You could-
Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
True.
Swap these out. So you can have that. You can have that. The other one. Okay.
Okay, welcome to town.
Thank you. So we can get started on the landscaping,
I'll contact you tomorrow with the
Okay.
information.
because they're right now ready to go. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, I appreciate
Sitting there
it.
with their trimmers, huh?
Thank you.
It's gonna be dark soon, they can't do much today. With the gas station across the street getting torn down, the corner's gonna be really nice. All right, calling docket number SCBA 2019-28, Weed Man, 574 Wheeling Road, appearance approval of freestanding sign. Ms. Nyes.
Thank you. So this is a replacement of an existing freestanding sign. It's a changing of the front panels on both sides. As we mentioned previously, the code is generally interpreted that we just allow the name of the company and not additional information, and including advertising. So that's why this sign has been brought to you and was not on consent, because because it's not consistent with our code. We wanted the Plan Commission to take a look at it. So it's the list of services, as well as the bottom panel that has some advertising on it.
Petitioner, can you step forward? Give us your name, business address?
Yeah, thanks. My name is Brandon Burns. Business address is 574 Wheeling Road.
And what have you got for us?
So I am admittedly a little embarrassed of this whole situation, to be honest with you. Never had a monument sign before. I was previously located on Shepherd Avenue in Wheeling. Moved in. It was kind of a unique scenario at that building. I don't know if you guys were aware, but there was a water main break over the winter. Whole corner of the building had sunken at this new location that I moved into. But it's a pretty sizable building, and there was plans in place to repair it. Got together with the landlord, and I went to the village personally and got them to sign off that we move into half of it, while the other half was the water main was being repaired for the sprinkler system. So I'm not one to try to skirt rules, so to speak. So I moved into the building and had a sign made up from a local manufacturer. Never once did they ask me, like, have you gone through a permit or anything like that? I've never had one before. So when the village came in to sign off on the construction, give us our occupancy permit for the entire building once the repairs were made, he said, hey, you need a permit for the sign. I said, okay, submitted everything, and then I found out that services, there's a few issues with it, advertising and services. So that's why I'm here.
Very good.
Oh, and one thing to add, there is existing landscaping around the monument sign, but they are proposing new landscaping to take that out, reuse some of it, and bring in some new landscape.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly, being honest. We want it to look a lot nicer, so.
All right, let's start with Commissioner Yednick this time.
Yeah, just a couple things. I was looking at the history here, and I saw that in 2011, when Alliance Disaster Cleanup had their panel sign, one of the conditions was to include the address. Should that be carried forward? Because obviously the new sign doesn't have the address.
Right, we typically recommend to put addresses on if it's not visible from the street. So is your address?
Well, has the address been, I mean, has the address signage been changed subsequently? Because it was a condition then, so I'm assuming that it wasn't visible then.
We haven't
Right.
changed anything, so I'm assuming that it probably
It
is.
may have
we-
been on Alliance's sign, I don't know.
Pardon?
It may have been on Alliance's.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I mean, at the time, in 2011, the commission made it a requirement to put the address on the sign because
Right.
I'm assuming they were saying the one on the building wasn't sufficient, so should that condition be carried forward is my question. I guess that would maybe be for Mallory or Marcy.
We typically leave that up to the applicant if they want to put the address on, although it does read in the ordinance that if it's not visible, it should be on the sign.
Well, the commission made it a condition, though, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it does say it should be, if it's not visible on the building, it should be on the sign. So that is something, if you
The
want them to
address-
change the sign.
We could certainly do one of two things, either post it on the building or like the bottom section of the sign, the yellow part, it's separate, so we could have something else made up for that too.
The address is on the sign. It's on the east side of the sign, on the edge,
On the edge, it is?
Oh, okay.
facing the street.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it. I drive by there frequently, I never noticed. I did notice.
I don't know if that meets
I did notice when the
code.
new sign showed up.
Yeah, just, yes,
As long as it's visible from the street.
Okay.
So if it was big enough on the building or on their front door, that would be fine too.
Okay. All right, I just didn't know if we missed that carrying it forward. The other question that I had, I guess, is, since you found out that the sign is not per code, you're looking for a variance, had you considered making a new sign compliant with the code, or do you really, is your heart set on the sign that you had made up?
So I mean, my biggest thing is, I mean, I'm obviously gonna do whatever you guys tell me to do. Like I wanna be a good partner with the village. We've been here now since 2011, I wanna say, 2010. So at various locations. So yeah, if we need to make a new sign, we can. I'll just share with you that I paid $2,500 for the sign.
Yeah, and
so
I'm
it's
sure
a
you
little,
want to promote your business
it's
and the
tough, right?
services that
And-
you offer. I can
Exactly, and
I
that's-
can understand the
Yep.
motivation, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I guess.
if we need to change it, we'll change it. It would just crush me because I love the look of our sign. But
My thought, my hesitation, just is that if it's in the code, there must have been a reason why they didn't want to have the additional wording in the thing. If we make an exception for you, we would probably have to make an exception down the line or change the code. I don't think it's not an objectionable looking sign. It's mostly an industrial area there, so
Right.
it's not, you're not putting up something real busy and tacky in a neighborhood. So personally, I'm not objecting to the sign, but I guess staff pointed out that it's not per the code. So that's my only hesitation. So,
Okay.
that's all I had. Thanks.
Commissioner Thompson,
I have nothing.
Commissioner Creech?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm in the same vein as,
The other guy?
Robert, as far as, it's a good-looking sign, but, as far as our code is concerned, we don't allow it, and, we don't like anything to like snowball.
So I just want to point out for clarification, the reason why this isn't on consent is because it doesn't meet the technical requirements, but we're bringing it to you because you could allow it. It's within your authority to allow the appearance of it as here, either entirely as it exists or with modifications as set out in the staff report. So, you've stated some reasons so far, at least Commissioner Yednick has, about how it's an industrial area. So there's reasons why you would, allow this and vary from the normal code that's within your purview, if the commission leans that way. And I think that there's also two different aspects. I believe you said the yellow portion is removable
Right.
as well. So that would,
Well, that was my next
oh,
question.
sorry, didn't mean to jump too much ahead. I just wanted to clarify because you guys seem to be
Well-
struggling, so.
Well, I am struggling because, I understand his situation. He's got an investment in the sign. It's a good-looking sign. If we can get some kind of compromise, If we can get rid of maybe the lower section where your advertising is, and we just leave the rest of the sign, and you're gonna beautify the landscaping.
For sure.
I could be in favor of this. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kalis?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for coming to us and admitting that you didn't know exactly what the rules were. I can appreciate that. For me, it's a matter of precedent, right? Like if the sign code is how it is because there's 100 businesses in that industrial park, and if everyone were to put a billboard, it's essentially a billboard, right? So I'm driving down 294, I see Brian Urlacher 100 times, and it just gets kind of crazy. So you can imagine if every business were to put a billboard up about their business. I don't think your sign is offensive by any means, but if we were to set the precedent that any business could advertise their services on this billboard versus on this sign, you've turned it into a billboard, and this is not a area for billboards. So doing advertising marketing, that's my world, but this just doesn't seem like the appropriate place as it pertains to the current code. So unfortunately for me, I'm just thinking that precedent-wise, every other business in this industrial park could then say, oh, Weedman is doing that. Let's put up everything that else that we offer, and then it becomes this big, mall, and it just becomes something that shouldn't be. So I'm sensitive to the money that you put out, and I appreciate the heart behind what you've done. Unfortunately, that's not something that we can take into account necessarily as your financial position.
Yeah, no, I
as much as
understand
we
that.
want to. As for me, it's I don't necessarily have any questions. I just want to let you know that where I'm coming from is if you were allowed to do this, then every business in that district and every business in Wheeling would come and say, hey, I can put up, all my business, things that they could put bullet points of their business, and then it's just become this big thing. I think of, anyway, it's, I like how it looks. I just don't like the precedent, unfortunately. So
Okay.
no questions for you other than what you've explained. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here since 2010. We greatly appreciate you and what you do for the village. Your service in general beautifies this village, so I appreciate that. So thank you for that. But
Sure.
No further questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Sprague?
Yes, I too like the sign. It's quite attractive. But we have to be fair to all businesses in the town, and if the code says that's not allowed, other businesses may have wanted to do that and couldn't because of the code, and it's all about being fair to everybody. So I think it needs to be changed to meet the codes.
Could I just add one more thing?
You may.
Sorry. So yeah, the idea that I got for the sign was actually based on the Bertog sign that was across the street and just down a quarter mile. It has services on it as well, and it's actually the sign that's on the website showing
Yes.
as an example of what to do. So I didn't find out about it being on the website till after the fact, but Bertog's in our industry. I saw their sign, I like their sign, and that's kind of what I based it off of, so.
Can I clarify?
Absolutely.
So,
Please.
yeah, we do understand that there are other signs that are older that do have some additional text on them. We know the Bertog one is in the ordinance, but it's in there as a representation of the landscaping that's allowed.
Oh, okay.
I know
Understood.
it's, it doesn't look good now, but it's in the landscaping section. But like I said, there are other ones in the village, and it's not a variance, it's allowed if you choose to allow it.
And I'm not trying to be difficult. I wish I was here before I did all this, obviously. But I just took a quick drove around yesterday, and I saw 8 signs that had services on them, So I'm not, again, I understand you're trying to prevent these kind of conversations from taking place. So I get both sides of it.
And were those 8 you saw, were they monument signs?
A fewer wall, is what you call a wall sign.
Yeah, because
So,
those rules are a little different, right?
Correct.
yeah.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Mr. Sprague? Okay. So, for me, I understand where you're coming from, and I know Bertog is a prime example. I drove around town yesterday myself and found several that include phone numbers and list of services. And some of them weren't that old. So obviously, we either let them slide or just didn't think about them when they came through us. And I know I was in on some of them. So I guess I don't have a problem with the upper part of the sign. Would you consider changing the bottom to changeable copy type thing where you could put now hiring or, something different without changing the whole panel? Just put the slide in letters.
I'm sorry, so
I don't
what,
think you want to go to the expense of having a reader board, but, give me an example of somebody who's got it. Family video.
Oh,
Right.
that's up
Where
when
you
they
change
have.
where you can change the lettering on there.
oh, like, you put the letters in?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't
is
know.
that acceptable or
I think staff would rather see
just a blank?
a blank, solid color at the bottom, perhaps one that matches the base. And we would be okay with the rest of the sign.
But then if they wanted to put now hiring, they would have to get a temp sign permit.
Correct, or it could be determined now that that would be allowed. If it's just temporary, like he was just going to put it in for a short period of time, then they could do a temporary sign. But I think this is more permanent in nature.
I mean, I don't want to see the price of the application on there.
Okay, understood.
And I understand, you need to advertise that you're hiring. But when you're not hiring, what would you do with that bottom part?
That would be a great question. We're always hiring, so.
But isn't the point that a monument sign, the code says that it's not for advertising anything? Whether it's hiring or whatever?
Yeah,
Or
but-
promotion or, and I'm a business owner, I get it, like, it's a, right, so the sign includes, I was trying to look exactly what the applicant has indicated the bottom panel, which currently reads now hiring, will be replaced by a solid color. Right, no text. So you've said that you will be willing to do that. And
Sure.
the code says, regardless of who your neighbor, what your neighbor says, what anybody else who's also out of code might be saying, I'm just, as it pertains to code, these monument signs are not meant to advertise. Ultimately, that's
Right.
and you didn't know that, and we're not
Not-
faulting you for that. It's just going from here. It's just my perspective that like we should have an even playing field. Unfortunately, for your $2,500 or whatever you put into it. So anyway, I mean, negotiating what might be on that bottom sign is kind of like it's negotiating not following code. Is that not true? That code says that it should have nothing?
Well, do you want to take this one?
Well, the code says that sign copy is limited to the name of the Unified Business Center or the complex with tenant panels.
But this isn't a business
But
center.
that's
it's-
for that's what freestanding signs say, and it's been interpreted by staff to be the name of the business for signs.
Sure.
But you can,
Unless we,
unless
feel-
you allow other.
but then that comes into my precedent thought of like
What
this
is
one and the other
Right,
15 other
it's not
businesses.
the first
Mallory or
that
Marcy, can
happened.
you explain to us, like, I know Supreme Court decisions are precedent, labor arbitrations are precedent, Land Commission, is it really a precedent, or is it every application is taken as a standalone, and we don't really have an issue where somebody can say, well, you allowed it for this business, why is it? And if we could hang our hat on something at the next situation, are we bound by what we've done before?
No, you're not. As long as your decisions aren't arbitrary or capricious.
Labor
And you
relations
have a
language.
basis, of why you would treat something differently, you have reasonable and rational reasons why, then those would likely hold up if they were ever challenged.
Okay.
And to finish my thought, just because other businesses are currently not conforming to code doesn't mean that we should approve this, like, we could say, there's Bertog, and there's this one, and there's that one, and there's all these examples in the village. My thought would be like, let's get all those examples into code, not let's necessarily start swinging towards allowing, I don't know, that's just my thought. Unfortunately, again, like I don't have any problem with your sign except for the fact that it shouldn't be an advertising piece. It's a sign. It's to tell people that your business exists there and nothing more. Advertising should happen somewhere else. That's my thought. Anyway.
All right, so where do we stand on this?
I think you're going to have to do a poll to know kind of if it's going to have to come back or not on the consensus of the Plan Commission on the text as written.
And do we want to define a condition on the lower portion of the sign?
Yeah, I would
too?
guess with the lower take it separately. The lower portion, a consensus on who wants to allow a text copy versus the solid color, and then a consensus on the upper portion. Because if the consensus of the Plan Commission is that they are not going to be in favor of the upper portion with the services, I would then consider continuing this so that he could come back with a different sign, rather than taking a vote right now. I mean, I guess you could also just take a vote on that portion as well, and he'd have to come back with a different sign. Either one is possible.
Commissioner Creech, what are your feelings on the upper portion of the sign?
Is this the consensus? I like the upper portion of the sign. If he had windows, he could put all this stuff on his windows.
Exactly.
So, and considering that he's in an industrial area, I'm in favor of, the upper sign because it's well done. I would like to see him get rid of the lower section and just put the blank panels in, and I would be good with that. Only because our previous petitioner, put all his advertisements on windows. He doesn't have big windows.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes, I would have to agree. I like the top portion, and I believe that the lower portion should be redone.
Commissioner Yednick?
I concur with the other guy, Commissioner Creech. Everything he said, I
To
agree.
introduce you guys. Commissioner Kalis?
I would say no because of code, current code, like everyone else is abiding to the code. This is a monument sign, not a window. So a window is a window, a monument sign is a monument sign, unfortunately. So the fact that he doesn't have windows is not, so I would say no to the upper part.
What about the bottom, as long as we're...
Are we?
Well, they've all been commenting on it, so
Again,
to keep
like,
things equal.
I would say no as well. The code is the code. I like the sign, it's just
Just want
like 20
blank.
other businesses would come to us and say, oh, I want to put my services on there, and then we'd have 20 more petitions. I have to say no.
So the bottom should be blank.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Sprague?
I'm a no for the upper part. It should be name only with address. And then I'm also a no, there shouldn't be anything on the bottom.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Did the other three vote on the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
The consensus there is that the bottom should be blank. I am going to say I'm okay with the top portion. So that makes it 4-2, that you can proceed with the top portion as it is. And then what, the condition would just be,
That the bottom panel shall be replaced with a solid color. We can add that, something about the advertising, if we're allowed to.
Oh, which aspect?
That it should be a blank panel with no advertising.
I would say with no copy
Okay.
or no text.
Do we get to vote on a color?
Yeah.
I kind of like the yellow, actually. I think the yellow makes the top pop a little bit.
well, we're just going to say blank, no copy.
Well, a solid yellow, yes.
We are professional designers here as well.
So we could paint the framework of the sign anyway, so I mean, if we match it up, or if we want to keep it the same, it's kind of aged. We could just match the color, and then the bottom panel match that as well, or, I don't know.
If the commission feels strongly about the color, it can include in the condition, or it can leave it up to staff and the petitioner to work out.
Any comments?
Well, I think we can leave it up to staff to.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I agree.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so what have we got as a condition on this?
The bottom panel shall be replaced with a solid color with no text.
Okay, and that's assuming the top stays the same. So, anything else before I call for a motion?
Are we all good with the landscaping?
Yeah, just to say we didn't cover the landscape.
Yeah, we did kind of skip over that.
Staff has looked at landscaping and it's,
Yes, right now, it's some old evergreen shrubs, and what
those I see.
they're proposing to put back is some more color and different textures, and that we find appropriate.
Okay. So you approved it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Then do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Yednick?
This is with the condition, correct?
With the condition that the bottom panel will be no copy.
Second.
Seconded by Creech. Roll call.
Commissioner Yednick,
Yes.
Commissioner Creech,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague,
No.
Commissioner Kalis votes no, Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson,
Yes.
4-2.
We will have something for you to sign shortly. And next time, come to us first.
Sorry to take up you guys' time with.
That's what we do, it's fine. Just because your friends are doing it doesn't mean.
If you could sign both and then take one. Yeah, that's you.
I get it, but they should be here too. They should all be here.
So you can keep this one, and I'll send you an email tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. That's an enforcement problem, that.
Yeah. All right, approval of minutes for August 22nd, 2019, including findings for docket number 2019-18. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
There were some,
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
I forgot.
There were some minor changes to the minutes and the findings. The minutes stated that Commissioners Sprague and Thompson were absent when in fact they had just abstained because they were not at the previous meeting. And then there was a typo in the findings, and those have been corrected.
Thank you. Commissioner Creech, you made the motion?
Yes.
Second.
Commissioner Yednick, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Other business? Ms. Nyes, anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Nothing. Mallory, anything from you? Been quiet
Nothing.
tonight. Commissioner Yednick,
No, thank you.
Commissioner Thompson,
No.
Commissioner Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering if we could get maybe an emailed copy of contact information for the whole board now?
Oh,
Since we
yeah,
have the two new members,
We do need an update.
maybe email it so that we could all have that. I'd appreciate it.
Good point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Commissioner Kalis?
Thank you, Chairman. Sad to see the summer season end. Glad to see CityWorks is up and running. People are smiling and having fun there. Excited to see what else is coming in Town Center and opening soon. Nothing else, thanks.
Commissioner Sprague?
Nothing from me, thank you.
I was just going to add one thing about
Sure.
the update, was that I have one currently in my, what do we call it? What is this tool that we use all the time?
Good reader?
Good reader? Yeah, there's a reference section, so if we just update through that reference section, would that be a way to do it? Instead of me having to track another email?
Yeah, I will
I don't know
look.
if I have that.
Do you have a reference section? No?
I don't believe I have anything. I noticed the golf gas station is just about completely down. The building parts are down, it's just a big pile of rubble right now. So that project's moving. Guess that's it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.